or busier Harvey eye. Just a lovely mix of green and gold there. Can see the hips on the young one. Sorry, I'm really messing you around there. And the young one in front of us, if you could just, that's a wonderful picture. There, you can see the hips on that young one there. Remember, on the lionesses, they look pretty healthy. A youngster that age, and I'm going to guess at the age, just under a year, and anybody who knows better on Twitter can, or on email can tell me. I'd say just under a year old, and they're now really having to fight at the kills. They've weaned completely, so they're not getting any milk, and if they kill something small, a youngster like that will really struggle to find something to eat, and that's why they're a bit skinnier than the lionesses. Gail, thank you for your question. Are you from Rhode Island, perhaps? If you want to know, can the other animals smell that the lions are here? So, for example, those nyala. Two factors are very important in that. The first is that the wind direction, which way the wind's blowing. At the moment, there's very little breeze at all. That's not to say there isn't one. I can't sense one. There's probably a slight southeasterly zephyr blowing. But what is the most obvious smell around here, and even we as humans can smell it, is that one or two or all of them have at some stage of the day gone to the loo around here, and that has resulted in a green and foul and evil-smelling cloud surrounding the area we now find ourselves in. And so any animal with half a nose will smell them from a long way off. I suppose your question is more aimed at does a lion have a distinct smell? The fur, for example, and the answer is definitely yes. So animals will smell lions. Lions will try and use the wind when they hunt, but not always. I mean, the smell can be broken. It's difficult to pick a direction of smell if you're in thick bush. But certainly any animal, it's incredible to watch if you're on foot, for example. Just going to be quiet quickly. That is a chin spot batis that is alarm calling at the lions. Very upset. You see them there, Andrew? Mm-hmm. There we go. Isn't that wonderful? Doris, thank you for your question. You want to know how many generations it takes for lions to become habituated to vehicles like these ones are. The answer is not even one generation. Because lions are so powerful and they're the apex predator in the area, that very little makes them afraid. So, yes, when they first see a vehicle, they will often sort of run away and then stop and look and run away and stop and look. But in a few weeks or months, they relax completely as soon as they realize that we are no threat. Leopards take much longer than that. Leopards can take years before they'll relax. But one generation, if you can get a semi-relaxed mother leopard and she's got cubs, normally the cubs will become very confiding quite quickly. So lions, because they're just not threatened by much, are normally very relaxed around vehicles almost immediately. Right, so while these lions continue to slumber, if it's possible to sleep hard, that's what these lions are doing. We're going to cross over to Brent and see what he's found. He's been tracking, and we'll see if he's managed to come up with anything.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you've been having a great time with James and the Nkuhumas. Scott and I have been checking this drainage line. We actually drove into the drainage line now and did some quite heavy bundu bashing, just at a spot where we know we can cross through the drainage line just to make sure the tracks hadn't come through there. I found one track, or a set of tracks in the drainage line heading in a sort of southwesterly direction, or more west, and we've checked above here. We can't find any tracks here, so we're quite confident he's sort of in this area around here. So we're going to listen again. We're going to move a little bit further down the road, and then just now I'm probably going to have to do another little walk into there to try find this leopard. Hopefully he's being cooperative this afternoon, but other than that, welcome back, and hopefully we can find you some spots. Wowie. Perusing this area, I'm going to give you guys a tree to have a look at. I'm actually going to tell you what the tree is. I'm going to do a bit of variation on the tree quiz today. We've got this beautiful little leadwood tree to our left. Really, really fantastic shapes on these trees. Really, really do like these trees. But instead of asking you what tree it is today, I'm going to go quite specific. I'm going to ask, if you burn the wood of the leadwood, there's something you can use the ash for. The ash has got a very high lime content, and the ash is really, really, very, very white. And traditionally, in the past, before the advent of all modern things, the ash was used for a very specific hygiene reason. And who can tell me what that hygiene reason was? So what was the ash of a leadwood used for in olden days? For hygiene, what was the ash of a leadwood used for? And you can send your answers to questions at wildearth.tv or use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. So what was the ash of a leadwood used for in hygiene? In human hygiene. So we're just going to have a squiz down here. The Ingwe Alley Road goes off that way. We're just going to drive in here. We've had some really great times in this little section. Lots of little pans. and we were here with a wonderful big herd of elephants who were all mud bathing about a month and a half ago. So a really nice spot. So we're just going to try and get the vehicle for now as close as we can to the edge of the drainage without too much crashing and bashing. And we're just going to stop the vehicle and listen for a few minutes while we're here. And it is amazing that even in a spot like this, what we see is a wall of bush ahead of us. The drainage line's just down ahead of us. I mean, here's some brown-headed parrot. Off in the distance. And on to the right here, we've got one of James's favourite trees. And I know he's chatted to you about quite a bit. And it's a low-felt milkberry. Very, very pretty tree. Really quiet. It's almost nothing making noise. I can hear an oxpecker, and I can hear those parrots and the flies that are mauling my face. We can actually see a lot of tree species diversity in this area. Let's see if we can name a few of them. So obviously we've just been looking at that low-felt milkberry. And then if we go just off to the left of it...
Oh, hang on.
What have you spotted?
Look closer.
Well done. Geez, Scott. Well played. We're going to get in there a bit closer now. But it looks like there's some form of caterpillar feeding on this low-felt milkberry. So... is it on the further branch or this branch?
The bottom, you can stop here as a starting point.
Okay.
I'm having some problems with my focus.
No problem.
I'm not sure what the story is.
I see them there. So I will try going a bit closer now. I've spotted them. I'm just trying to make sure there's not any a bit closer. But some really... aha. And I think I even know what they are. I'm trapped. It's getting stuck. The tree's stuck against the door. I'm trapped. Okay. Oh no, I've escaped now. A little jackalberry that I didn't see kept the door cornered. Wow, they're really, really beautiful caterpillars. I thought I knew what they were, but I think I was wrong. But I think they're everywhere, all around, different sizes. Very interesting. I'm pretty sure they're moth larvae, and judging by the size, I'm gonna go with one of the emperor moths. We're gonna have a quick look. I'm gonna go over the bonnet, not to get stuck this time. Much easier. There we go. When I just grab my...
Watch your hand.
Whoops. Sorry. My big tree book for a second and see if we can find if there's any specific moth species that's larvae feed off low-felt milkberry. The other option is we could ask Jamesy Oh, I accidentally changed radio channels there. Back on the right one. So just give me 2 seconds. But they do have very fine hairs, so that's why you definitely don't want to touch those ones. It'll be quite itchy. But there are quite a lot of them. Just having a quick look here. Okay, so let me have a quick here. So there's no anything on the. Oh, it's a bit of a caterpillar battle, a war of a leaf. There's nothing specific on. Oh, there we go. Now, there are different sizes, so some that have eaten more. I'm pretty sure they're the same species, but I'm not sure why they're having a battle. There are quite a few leaves around. I can't even see where this is going on. Oh, it's heating up now. Sort of almost. Oh, there we go. There's a definite winner there. I think none of them wanted particularly be pushed off the tree. It'd be quite a job to get back. But I'm just looking carefully around, and it looks like they might have also fed off the spike thorn before moving up onto the milkberry. So I'm going to check sort of the milkberry family to see if there's any sort of known insect or moth particularly that feeds off them. I have a very fond memory of Manilcara, which is the Latin name of the milkberries, and I spent a lot of time around Manilcara trees while I was in Central Africa, and their fruit was sought after by both the great apes, chimpanzees and gorillas. So, unfortunately, I cannot find any sort of known plant that feeds off them, a known insect that feeds specifically off them, but they do have quite a milky latex. But the fruit is edible to humans, and they are very popular when they're flowering with a lot of different insect species. And the wood is termite resistant as well, so it's used traditionally in this part of the world for fence posts. Let's see if I can find that the leaf. Yeah, well, this is one of those mysteries we're going to have to try work out later. But very, very good spot there, Scotty.
Thank you, sir.
So well done to Mim, Jean, Pamela, and Lucy, who got that usage of leadwood ash. And there was a lot of you who got it right. Those were the first guys in. Well done to you. It was used as toothpaste. So that high lime content and high calcium content helped to create strong teeth. Well, we're going to ponder what possible moth species could these caterpillars belong to. Pretty sure it'll be one of the big emperor moths, just judging on the size of the caterpillars. But in the meantime, I'm going to take another short walk into the drainage line, see if we can find that male leopard. We're going to cross across to James. Apparently the lions are starting to do a little bit of stretching, so hopefully they'll provide you with some great entertainment, and we will catch up with you a little later in the show.
Hi everyone, welcome back to this incredible lion sighting. We had to drag you away from Brent and his invertebrates just because the light is so magnificent on their golden coats. They're just starting to wake up. This is the first sort of sign as they clean each other. And you can just... This is the social bonding happening before they get up and eventually go hunting. They take longer than teenagers to get out of bed in the morning or in the afternoon. The male has just moved around the side. He got up and walked about half a metre and then decided he was far too exhausted and fell over. And then this old female has been allo grooming now for the last little while. And as I've said to you before that night, you've all, a lot of you have had a domestic cat lick you. That tongue on the end of that lioness would take the skin clean off your arm. We were just having a really nice look at that old lioness. She's you can see she's got she bears the scars of a life fairly well lived. I mean, to have got this far, she's lived well. Her ears are a bit torn. She's got scars down her body, but mostly I noticed, which was fascinating, and I hope she'll do it again for us. As she yawned, I could see that her right hand teeth, so her right hand canines, were much blunter than the left. And so she's obviously got a preference when she's eating to eat off the right-hand side of her mouth, use the right-hand carnassial teeth, which are the molars, when she eats. And it's quite a nice way of aging lions. Their teeth do go blunt, obviously, through wear over time. Chippy would like to know if there's any reason that sort of three of them are awake versus the others. Chippy, no, there's no real reason. Some have just decided to wake up and others are still flat out. You'll probably find the younger ones are more resting than the older, but I know they're all slowly waking up now. I hope that cloud unmasks the sun again, because the golden light on them was just very spectacular. Not sure what you can hear from where you're sitting, but there's a laughing dove calling in the background. You can still hear Chinspot Battis alarm calling from across the dam. And I can hear, just listen carefully. Can you hear the lion's tongue? The lion's tongue you can, if you listen very carefully, I think the microphone might pick it up. You can just hear the rasping sound as it scrapes across the scapula of the other lioness. Bit of a breeze coming up, which if you're a lion is ideal for hunting in, because it masks your smell and it disorientates potential prey. Pity the hapless beast that comes across these lions tonight. Two of them have seen something. I can't see behind me. There is a Birchall starling, but I doubt that's what's got their attention, unless they're ornithological lions. Something's interested them. You can see the lioness that's just sat up. She's bigger than the older one. Well, not necessarily bigger, but she's got more condition on her. She's clearly younger. She's in her prime. Look at the muscles on the back of her neck compared with the older one. It's quite possible that the older one is her mother. Now I can hear oxpeckers off to where they're looking, which means there's probably a herbivore there. And now they're smelling. Look at them lifting their noses to the breeze. Can you get in on that foot there that's in frame? When we spotted the tracks earlier, we weren't able to show them to you, but basically the track on the ground is an inverse model of that foot that you can see there. You can see the 3 lobes very clearly on the back pad, and then the 4 toes. The 5th toe constitutes the dew claw, and it's just at the back. Susie Johnson in California, welcome. I can only imagine what it looks like out your window versus to what we're looking at here. It's great to have you with us, and thank you for your question. You want to know, can the lion's licking remove the ticks? And you said that you don't think it can. I think it would definitely remove ticks. The ticks that would bite animals like this, that would really get into them, would go for the softer sort of underbelly areas. But I would say I haven't seen any ticks that have remained behind on the areas that have been licked. You can see, I don't know, Andrew, can you get in on the ear here of the big lioness, not the one sitting up, the one just behind her? She's got an injury on the back of her ear there. There we go. You can see the blood red, and I'm willing to bet that's also from feeding, that she's taken a blow from one of her sisters or her mother. There's definitely some herbivore coming down to drink. I can hear from the oxpeckers calling. Oh dear, too tired, exhausted. Julia from Houston, thank you for your question. I laugh not because of the question, but because I have never thought about it. You want to know if I've ever found a fur ball in the bush? No, I haven't. And certainly not from a lion, as far as I'm aware. I think quite unlike domestic cats, the digestive systems of lions, they're kind of designed to digest hair, even if it is their own. They'll eat quite a lot of hair by mistake often, or from the animals that they catch. But I've never found a fur ball. That's not to say that they don't produce them. I've just never seen it. It was a fascinating question. Perhaps you can get onto the great information highway that is the World Wide Web and see if anyone else has seen them. Let us know. It would be fascinating to know. We had that question about the flies earlier, and you can certainly see that they are bugging these lionesses. It's their own fault. They should have done their toiletry business elsewhere before coming to sleep here. Like I say, Andrew and I are surrounded by a fairly acidic green cloud. It's threatening to knock the last remaining hairs on my head out. Quite nice to see that lioness that is in picture now. If you look down her belly, the spots. Now, when they're born, they're as spotted as leopards are. And those are remnants of those spots. Because when they're, I'm guessing here, but I suppose that they're definitely spotted for camouflage. But I suppose when they're little, they're below the line of the vegetation most of the time. And so and they're normally in thicker bush where they're left hidden. And so to have a dappled coloured coat compared with a consistently coloured one like they've got now, would give them a better chance of survival. Very few lions survive to adulthood. So when they've got to the ages you're seeing around here, they're pretty tough. And that's the survival of that youngster who looks to be about a year old is by no means guaranteed at this stage. Here comes the sun. There's some glorious golden light now. Hello, William in Denver. We're very happy to have you along. And thank you very much for your question. You're obviously a budding young conservationist, and I hope you're enjoying this lion sighting. What you'll find is that you want to know why the lions have got black on the back of their ears. And the reason is that if you look around, or when we're driving through the bush, just try and see if you can see any black or any white. Those two colors are very uncommon in this area. And so, because these animals move a lot through the thick bush and they need to follow each other and be able to see where they're going, that black on the back of the ears, same as the black pom-pom on the tip of the tail, helps them to follow each other through the thick bush when they're hunting. So they'll spread out and then just look from side to side, and they'll see a bit of black there and a bit of black here, and a bit of black behind them. And that's why they've got those little pieces of black there. The light seems to have deserted us again. It's a bit sad, but that's okay. Hopefully it'll come back. Tyler is from the Dayton Children's Hospital in Ohio. Thank you for your question, Tyler. I'm so glad you guys are still watching us. It's lovely to have you along, and thank you for asking the question. You'd like to know if there's anything that a lion will not eat. The answer is yes, there are some things that a lion will not eat. They won't eat vegetables if they can avoid it. They won't eat fruit if they can avoid it. But in terms of meat, they will eat just about anything. So they'll eat fish, they'll eat reptiles, they'll eat fresh meat, and they will eat the foulest, stinkiest, most disgusting, rotting meat that you wouldn't even be able to go near for the terrible smell that it gives off. And the reason they're able to do that is that they've got very powerful digestive enzymes in the stomach. And that allows them to digest just about anything, even if it's the most disgusting, maggot-riddled, foul meat. So basically, anything that's made of meat, they'll eat it. We'd love to try and move around these lions and get a different view, but from here I don't think it's going to be a great idea. We can try, tell you what, as the sun's going down, we'll move around to where we started with them, and that might give us some slightly better light on them. So we're going to do that now. As you can see, it don't look like they're going nowhere. Trick, of course, as always, is to not lose Andrew off the back. Luckily, the bush is not too thick where we are now. Okay. So, Andrew nearly landed on my lap there. We might not be going anywhere. Right. Carol on Twitter, thank you for your question. I think I'm thanking you for it, but I think you may have asked me something I cannot answer. So I'm going to give it a go and then put it out to the Twitterverse or Twitter sphere to contradict me. You've asked, and it's a very valid question and one I've wondered about before. Why, if lions are active at night, is the following mechanism on them black and not white? And the only answer I can give you is that lions, of course, don't see like we do at night. They see much more in black and white, and so the contrast is much greater, and they don't see color. So I can only assume that the blackness probably helps them to avoid detection by other animals, and that they are able to see that color better at night than, say, their prey species. That's the only answer I can give you at the moment, I'm afraid. Very good question. Well, I'm glad we got out of that. It wouldn't have been fun to try and dig ourselves out of that hole with all the lions around. So there they are again. From young William in Denver, Colorado. William, I have a nephew called William, so you have a very good name. You said thanks for, or you're amazed that we can answer the question from all the way across the world. Well, let me tell you, I'm even more amazed than you are. And I shudder to think what technology will be able to do by the time you're my age. A slightly different angle on the same bunch of extremely lazy cats. I mean, you'd think if they were that hungry, they'd get off their backsides and go and do something useful. Oh, got a big yawn there, I'm afraid, Andrew. Sorry. Okay, while these recumbent animals do nothing, we're going to cross it to Brent. I think that he did have some success finding something on foot, but I'm not sure what the status is there. So we'll go back to the irascible and highly skilled tracker that is Brent Leo Smith. We'll see you just now.
Welcome back, guys. So I found really fresh tracks of that male leopard, and I walked through the drainage line and I spotted him very briefly on foot. So I moved back and we've got the car, and we're now just trying to find him. I heard some kudu alarming, so they might have moved him a little bit further from where I saw him last, but we are in the right area at the moment. So we're hoping he's going to be lying under the next bush. But it is a really thick area around this drainage line. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to head up here and I'm going to stop for a second. We did hear some small birds alarm calling. judging on the size of the tracks that we were looking at, I think and the brief visual I had, I think it's possibly a Mvula. It's definitely an adult male leopard. I'm going to switch off for a second. You can still hear those birds alarming, and maybe we should try get around into there. Yeah. I don't know if you guys can hear that, just off to sort of our southwest. There's a whole bunch of small birds that are quite upset about something. So we're going to go have a look if we can get down there. Try see. I don't think we're going to be able to get a vehicle down here. I'm just going to try see if we can see. What all those birds are alarming at. Very consistent alarming. I'm going to try to see if we can find a way to get down there. Nope, that wasn't going to work. Trying to keep Scott out of the thorns. Are pushed down a lot of trees in this area, which makes maneuvering through here quite difficult. You got it? This is around here somewhere where I can hear all those birds going. There is a possibility, because those kudu alarmed at him, he might have moved further to the south. Those birds seem to be calming down a bit. Try sneak through here. He has chosen a really thick block to keep us busy in. So this is the actual path where I was following his tracks. was coming up this little thing, and where I saw him was just through here. How am I there, Scotty?
All good.
So he was lying in this thicket up here on the right. Maybe check a little bit further along the edge of the drainage line. Tracks on that path there?
Not that I can see, but it's a bit hard.
He's definitely giving us a bit of a runaround today.
But he's here somewhere.
Very close. It's the right time of the day for him to start moving. Sun's dipping, temperature's dropping. Probably spend the heat of the day sleeping in the nice cool drainage line. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to head a little bit further along here, and then we're going to cut back to the road to double check he hasn't crossed out while we've been in the thicket. Ironic, we've been crashing and bashing at areas sitting in the middle of the road. Where you guys be? So at the moment we're checking very extensively this area between Chele Pan and Ingwe Alley. There's a small drainage line there. As you've seen, it's quite thick, and the elephants have pushed a lot of trees down. Sorry. Standing by. Negative. I'm going to check the Ndlela again, make sure that there's no tracks crossing out. He was on the southern side of the Donga. We came from the north. So we're just double checking that he hasn't crossed this road while we've been in the thickets. Texan's going to go check around on the northern side of the drainage line. So we're working as a team covering this area now to try and make sure that we find this animal. Kevin from Wisconsin. Welcome on Sunset Safari. Kevin would like me to explain what I mean when I refer to a drainage line. How long is it? What is it? How is it made? So Kevin, most drainage lines are actually made on the border of two different soil types, and that is where the ground gives way the most, and generally the depression. So when it rains, those areas is where the water will congregate and flow, and it gives way there because on the border of those two soil types there's a bit of a sort of give, so it erodes more easily, and these are natural erosions. They are not man-made or caused by bad land management, and they are basically very young rivers, and they're all the kudu that we heard alarming, and they're looking very relaxed, so quite sure he's still there. And what we might do is turn around and check on Weaver's Nest, see if he's crossed out possibly that way. Sorry Kevin, back to your drainage line. So these drainage lines, obviously, because the water flows into them, could one day become rivers in a very long time. Most of them will stay dry. They're just sort of little dry stream beds, or dry creeks, I think, as you would call them in Wisconsin. Oh, sorry, Scotty. But see, they're the kudu that when I first saw him on foot, he obviously moved a little bit, and then all of a sudden we heard the kudu bark at him. So they're moving away from the area where the leopard was, which is a bit unfortunate. They're like an alarm system for us. If he had come this way, they would have started shouting, "Leopard, leopard," and we would have known where to go look. So, back to your question there, Kevin. So, because obviously there's a lot of water in these areas, there you get a whole bunch of different tree species that are more water reliant, and it often is quite thicker around them. That's why it was so difficult bashing and crashing through the bush there. And also that particular area, the elephants have had a field day pushing down knob thorns, and they've made it quite difficult to maneuver in there. Message from Hayden Turner, HT, all the way from London, sending leopard luck to the Bloodhound gang. Thanks very much, HT. We're looking forward to having you back here, and hopefully you can come do some leopard tracking on foot with us the next time you're here. So Texans checking carefully on the northern side of the drainage line. We're going to check the southern and then the western side. It is possible he might have just moved 5 meters and just laid down. And we've driven around him a couple of times, but it is the time of the day when he's going to start moving, and we know he's here. I mean, there's no doubt. I've actually seen him. He is just choosing to make me look a bit silly, make you wonder whether I've been talking nonsense. But hopefully this all comes to fruition eventually. Some birds alarm calling again. We're just going to have a quick look there. Always pays to double check these things. Going to go check around the other side of that termite mound. Although quite the fan of the termite mound. That is actually the same termite mound that Scott and Steph walked into quarantine male leopard during the Nat Geo show. Hi, James from Missouri. James, we're going to get to your question in a second. So if we go into this little figure here, Scotty, you can see that bird that is making all that noise. And obviously it's one of the smallest birds possible making all the noise. It looked like a little long-billed crombeck. There's two of them making noise, that's why I just stopped to come have a quick check. And they're not. Maybe off it goes. I think these crombecks are leading us on a wild goose chase. So we're going to head back up to Weaver's Nest and see what's happening. James, sorry about that, just we needed to follow up to make sure there wasn't a leopard. So James is a bit worried about how dry the grass is and a fire starting on the exhaust system of these vehicles we're driving. I have actually seen a vehicle similar to this burn into a big pile of aluminium and an engine block in Botswana. It was a Botswana Defence Force vehicle. So we've actually put we've got quite a bit of a piece of steel there that covers that little thing. On a lot of the old Defenders, there's a design flaw where you have a little fork like this. Sorry, 1 second. I'm sure his elephants is somewhere in there again. I think we'll find now again just now. I'll go back to where I last saw him. Okay. Cheers. Sorry about that. Just chatting to Texan, who's been going around and around the block with us. We all know the leopard's there. Now it's just trying to find where he is in the block. So I think we're going to do the same thing again and go around while Texan goes the opposite direction. So with those, on some of the older Defenders, the petrol models, there's a V that used to be very close to the exhaust. And what happened in very dry areas and with long grass, the grass here isn't actually quite long enough to catch it, James, like it does in other areas. So basically the long grass used to catch across this V and build up till there was a pile of grass that used to touch the exhaust, and obviously an exhaust in a vehicle gets very, very hot, and that would start a fire. And fire in aluminium vehicles is not a good thing. They burn to the ground very quickly, under 6 or 7 minutes, all gone. But we don't have that problem on these. And as talking about how dry the bush is, we do have wet and dry cycles like anywhere. And it's one of the ways nature controls populations, and that by having a dry cycle, any animal that's sort of weak or sickly will not last out these dry cycles, and it generally proves to create a much fitter and stronger breeding population afterwards. And also, a lot of people see droughts as a very big negative, and like in a lot of places, quite a lot of elephant die from drought and wildebeest and all sorts. And this is actually nature sorting itself out. It is a natural thing to go through dry patches, and in doing that, they remove sort of the weaker individuals from the population, and it's a purge. It's a natural purge of the population, like certain disease outbreaks amongst animals, and not necessarily a bad thing all the time, because they do make the general population that survive much healthier and stronger and resistant. Pop this on the dash. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. It's quite a little thing. That's from my meanderings around the bush looking for that leopard. Come on. Ah! Or maybe you see it on my thumb. Not going to leave him there for too long, otherwise he might latch on. See that tiny little... Oh, where'd he go? Oh no, this is a problem. Did he fall off?
I didn't see.
Oh no, there he is. Oh, and he's going around the other side. See there, that is a little tick that I picked up on my wanderings in the bush there. Fortunately, yes, he's trying to latch on into a nice soft spot there. So fortunately, I found him before he managed to latch on to me. So I'm going to return him to the bushes and go find an impala to latch onto. So guys, we're going to go try and find this leopard again. He's giving us a bit of a hard time. We're going to cross across to James, see what he's been up to with the lions, and hopefully when you come back we would have found this leopard. So have a great time with James, and we'll see you a little later.
Welcome back to Jiga, everyone. You can see the sun is just starting to set, and Freddie has managed to get an incredible picture of it. The lions are, well, pretty much as we left them, really. There's one sitting in front of us here who's almost half, sort of, maybe a little bit woken up. She's quite scarred on her nose, probably also from fighting over food. And you can see her eyes opening slowly. And you can probably also hear the chin spot Battises are back, shouting at them. It's such a lovely sound. They're such sweet little birds. I'm not sure why they're alarm calling at the lions. They're not Battises, actually. They're crombecs. Long-tailed, long-billed crombecs. Little tailless birds who've obviously decided the lions are not going to hunt them, unsurprisingly, and have headed off. The lioness that was almost sort of a little bit kind of awake is now dropping off again after the exertions of lifting her head and looking our way briefly. Sometimes when people come to Africa for 2 or 3 days at a time, this is all they get from lions. They get these incredibly lazy animals lying about doing nothing, and they're rather disappointed because they... What are you doing, Andrew? To take Freddie in hand when I get home. He's clearly misbehaving on the back there. Sorry about that. And so if you've come out here and you expect, as you've seen the Lion King movie, and you expect great regal lions walking and calling at every available opportunity and hunting madly, and then this is what you see. People are often disappointed. But when they're up and they're moving like they were this morning, there is no greater sense or feeling of African power. But right now, watching these lions is a little bit like having an anesthetic. Although they're still very beautiful, and the sunset we've just had is incredible. So as the sun starts to set now, or has in fact, no, it hasn't quite set, it's just going down behind the clouds, you can hear the crombecs were starting to call. We had some black-headed orioles, beautiful golden yellow birds calling behind us. The Natal francolins have come out from their daytime resting places, and they're starting to fossick around in the dry undergrowth, trying to pick up seeds and insects and whatever else they can find. The doves are coming down to drink. You can hear a blacksmith lapwing calling in the background. Ding, 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 ding. And so all around the sort of crepuscular activity is starting to take place. You can hear a laughing dove flying off behind us. Always a very busy little time before the sun goes down, as the diurnal animals grab their last bites to eat, and the nocturnal animals supposedly start to get awake. Hillary in Tennessee, you ask an interesting question. Thank you very much for your question. You want to know if some lionesses are more likely to clean than other lionesses, and the answer is I'm not sure. I suspect probably yes. Definitely, certainly what we saw just now was that the older lioness was doing the cleaning, and there were some perfunctory attempts from some of the younger ones, but then they went back to sleep while the older one carried on cleaning. You hear that crombec calling angrily there. You see him, and I'm not sure if you can. He's in the tree there. I'm not sure you'll get an angle on him there. I'm just trying to spot these little crombecs. Oh, look at him, there he is. He's very cross. There he is. It's a really nice little shot of him there. You see he's got no tail at all. It's called the long-billed crombec. It's getting closer and closer. It's very angry. Doesn't like having lions in his space. How that bird knows that a lion is some form of threat is absolutely astonishing. It must only have come through the eons of evolutionary time that they've learned that a cat like this is a predator. See, he's at the top there, Andrew. You might get a bit of a shot of him.
And there's two now.
Yeah. There we go. That's wonderful. I mean, in reality, a lion poses almost no threat at all. I'm just going to take a radio call quickly. Last station, who are you calling? Yeah, affirmative. They are still lying asleep here.
Just want to go back to try to but
Copy that. Yeah, just come to the eastern side of the dam above the water. That's your best approach. Just off Hippopools Road, where that bad ditch is. There goes the beautiful African sun. The end of another spectacular day here in the Greater Limpopo Transfrontier Park. You can see why this place has captivated the imagination for so many centuries. So I'm just going to let you listen for about 20 seconds as the sun goes down, and just listen to the calls and sounds of the African evening. So there in the background you can hear a blacksmith lapwing calling, so called because apparently his call sounds like a blacksmith's hammer knocking on an anvil. I'm not sure where they got that from. I don't think it sounds like that at all. I'm not surprised these lions are hungry. I've never seen such a lazy bunch in my life. Hello, Steve in San Diego. Thank you for your question. It's a good one. Why do we see mostly females and not males in this area? We had an experience this morning where we saw one of the dominant males of the area, big male lion. And I've answered a similar question today. And the answer, Steve, is that for male lions, life is probably much harder than for the females. Their chances of survival are smaller because only 50% of them or so will survive to adult, at least 10% will survive to adulthood and survive long enough to dominate a territory. And that's because they get thrown out of the pride when they're about 2.5 to 3 years, and they must eventually then take a territory from another pride. And the difficulty with that, of course, is that they must fight for that, physically fight for it, whereas the lionesses live in a close-knit group. They can feed off each other, and they can help each other to kill and hunt. Where the males, certainly as nomads, have a difficult time doing that. And that is basically why there are fewer males than there are females. You can see, I'm sure you can hear that other vehicle moving into the area very slowly and very quietly, but these lions are just totally unfazed by our presence. Oh, one of them's got up. Astonishing. Bet they shall lie down again and fall fast asleep. It's the old one again. It's always the old one. John in California, you ask a nice question. You say, why is it, or when will the lion's hunger turn to the stage of panic? I'm not sure it would ever turn to panic. But certainly where they are now, they'll be pretty hungry, and they will make a real effort tonight to hunt. Remember, they have a very fine energy balance as lions. They don't derive a huge amount of energy from their food. It costs them quite a lot to digest the protein that they eat and turn that into energy. And so they can't, I'm being a bit facetious when I say that they're being lazy. Cats like this, they're all yawning now and waking up. That's wonderful. Cats like this, and do you know that because of the diet that they eat, will struggle to maintain a form of activity or too much activity because they don't eat any fat. There's no fat in them, very little fat in what they eat, and there's no carbohydrate or sugar in what they eat. So to answer your question, John, in a roundabout way, they will try and hunt now. I can see they're pretty hungry, but I don't think they'll ever panic about it. want to get our hopes up because we've had them moving a little bit before and then they went all fast asleep again. But it looks like they might be starting to wake up now. Wow. Nigel on Twitter, you ask a fascinating question. You say, will the pride attempt to avoid the Matimba males if there are no lionesses and estrus trying to mate? The answer is probably yes. I've actually seen it happen where the dominant males of an area are looking for the pride, and the pride will actively move away from them and be silent. They won't answer contact calls. And that's mainly because other than providing sort of territorial protection, there is no advantage to having a male lion around here. The lionesses are big enough to defend themselves from just about anything else, and all the males do is eat their food. So to answer your question, is a good one, Nigel. They will definitely often try and avoid the males unless there's a female in estrus. They will absolutely try and avoid new males, because that young cub who's just approaching a year old, or maybe just over a year old, would be killed by a new male, or a couple of new males coming in, and certainly the young male here wouldn't be tolerated by a new male coming in. He'd have to skedaddle post-haste. Ramey on Twitter, thank you for your question. Your question is, because this is what you term a small pride, would a female in estrus leave to go and sort of seek out a male to mate? There are two aspects to that. First of all, for a Kruger pride, this is about average size. 3 lionesses and their cubs is roughly the average Kruger lion pride size. Yes, you do get much bigger ones, but this is not a particularly small pride for this area. The second part of that question is that they would probably not leave the pride. In fact, I'm pretty sure that wouldn't happen at all. To go and mate, the males will come around every so often, and they will pick up with that. They will pick up whether the females are in estrus or not. Just from the scent marking that the pride makes, that the scent will be different when the lionesses are in estrus, and so the males will seek the pride out. Here we go. Here's some action. Here we go. Now that lion's head is about the same height as the door of my Land Rover, so she's pretty tall. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? Andrew has said, oh no, because one of them has decided to relieve herself right next to us. They're now too close for him to actually film. With the orange eyes in this one. So we're going to let them go behind us, and then I think they're all going to move. And they're starting to have a drink. But I cannot move the car now without disturbing them, so I'm not going to. That one lioness had very orange eyes compared with the yellow ones on this sub-adult here. also, this lioness coming past us here has also got very yellow eyes, not orange. Oh, that's just spectacular. I can't express how incredible it is to have these magnificent cats so close to me.
Junior, so lazy.
Lazy Junior, as is the wont of teenagers the world over, would rather do nothing. How close are they there behind us?
Literally 1 meter behind us.
Okay, I can't move, I'm afraid.
No, you can't move.
There's one about 3 feet behind us. Andrew can't even film them, they're so close. Sorry about that, but I can't go forward either.
Yeah, there's one on the right here. Camera can't.
Okay, we can't move. Oh, wonderful. Thanks for that, Andrew.
Oh, this one at least went.
I'm not sure that you want pictures of what that one's doing.
It's all natural.
The green cloud that we've been surrounded by has just been refreshed tenfold. Shame, poor old Andrew, every time he points the camera somewhere and Lion does something that is not really TV friendly. It's not his fault. Well, they're now exhausted after all that activity. There is one just 3 feet behind us, so we can't move. I'm hoping that this lazy lump in front of me will stand up and move, and then maybe we can go a bit forward and turn around. He's just yawned. I think he doesn't do much else other than yawn. As soon as the male has moved, I'll try and sneak forward and then we can turn around. But for now, we're stuck, surrounded. Here we go. Come on, see if you can make it to the water. I know it's hard. That's it. Oh, no. I thought he was going to get up.
The smell's starting to waft this way.
Yeah. Now, you saw how far away that lioness relieved herself. The incredibly potent smell has reached us over here. Andrew has gone pale. His earphones are starting to melt. There we go, isn't he beautiful? Oh, look at that. Here he comes. He's also got yellow eyes. There are 2 different colour eyes in this pride, yellow and orange. Wonderful to hear his footfall as he goes past. Okay, I'm going to try a fairly daring driving maneuver and not frighten them from behind us. Hold on tight. Right, letting the brake off. now, where they were in relation to us. Now they're starting to move a little. I do emphasize the word a little. Junior looks most offended that they've decided to move at all. You see him looking, what he's looking at, we got him there, he's looking at the front of the vehicle. The front of the vehicle's got two headlights, which I'm pretty sure to an animal like this must look like two eyes. And that's generally the contact that they make with the vehicle, if they make any at all. Stop here briefly, and then we'll probably follow the others. No, we're not going to do that. Oh, sorry, Andrew can't tilt the camera because I parked him in such an angle. There we go. Some of them have had a little drink. The youngster's going to have a bit of a drink now. I'll try and get round the front there so you can see that. Sorry, Andrew. Young lioness has also got yellow eyes. I want to find the one with the orange eyes again. It's quite interesting. So there she is. Look at the eyes of Andrew. If you can look at the one looking closest at us, the one that is eyeing you with hunger in her eyes. Those eyes are very orange. I don't know if you can see that compared with some of the more yellow eyes. Now, if you look at her and then the one just sort of other one about to fall asleep just to her right. You can see the eyes there are yellow. That's quite a nice differentiator. But one seems to be the only one with orange eyes. The rest are all the sort of yellowy green. Here comes the rest of the pride now. Youngster trotting along. Here, ngipukile nangwini. So normally what happens now, of course, is that they move a little, lie a little, move a little until they're sort of fully got their physiologies going enough to move into the hunt. Ooh. Okay, now this is fascinating. That is really interesting. he's exhibiting something we call phlegmon. Now, phlegmon is when he opens up his soft palate and opens a tract to an organ in the brain called the organ of Jacobson. And what that does is tell him if the female is ready to mate or not. So he's just had a smell around her nethers, and now he's testing to see whether she's ready to mate or not. Now, if he continues with that sort of behavior, it's not long before he gets tossed out of this pride. It's quite likely that that lioness is either his aunt or his mother or a sister. He's either playing or he's got so hungry he's now going to eat a piece of wood. She, I mean. The light is now starting to fade. The camera doesn't tell entirely honest truth with regard to the light. It's brightening things up a bit for you, and that's why they're starting to get moving now. Not sure if you can hear there, but there are a whole lot of squeaking sounds. I'm just going to sit quietly for the next few seconds. They've now stopped, of course. There were some bats flying around, but they're making very high-pitched calls, which you can actually hear. It's amazing, and that's how they're catching the insects that make up their diet. It's an utterly unbelievable method of catching things. Diane from Texas, thank you for asking what waterhole we're at. We're at Biffle's Hook Waterhole. Just for those of you who've just joined us, welcome. It's wonderful to have everybody along with us. We've been watching this pride now for almost sort of 3 hours, or 2.5 hours at any rate, and they've been doing absolutely nothing until about 5 minutes ago, and they're now up and on the hunt. So we're going to follow them for as long as we can. They're quite close to our boundary, so we might not be able to follow them for too long. One of them's looking up at the game drive vehicle there, giving somebody a small heart attack. And so we're going to follow them through the bush. Welcome to all you newcomers. Please remember that you can send through any questions you like, any comments to #SafariLive or questions@wildearth.tv. Okay, we're going to follow these lines. Of course, they may simply just drop to sleep. Your head here, Andrew. You all right? Oh, they've crossed. Yeah, they're crossing this drainage line. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get across there. We will eventually, but I don't want to lose them. I also don't want to lose Andrew or this Land Rover. I don't think we're going to be able to get across there. ahead here, Andrew.
Got it.
Okay, just let's have a quick look at them moving through there. They're just moving down through where the spotlight is shining, along parallel with this drainage line, and we'll try and go across there and find them again. There's one there, coming through there. You can just see them going there. Okay, I'm not going to shine on them now. I'm going to try and get around as quickly as possible. Grace, thank you for your question. You want to know, would the dominant female in the pride have more power than the male? Not really sure exactly to what you're referring. I'm assuming in terms of sort of leadership, and the answer is absolutely yes. She would. He's just a tag along at the moment. He's adding very little value at all. Okay, I'm going to have to move out of here quite smartly. Because we are not going to cross this drainage line, we're going to have to go around. So Grace, he is on borrowed time, especially having just watched him investigating the receptivity of one of the lionesses. We're going to go back across to Brent while I try not to decapitate Andrew and see how he's doing. I'll catch up with you just now.
Welcome back, everyone. This leopard's been giving us an incredibly hard time. I went on James's theory.
Moving out.
That possibly the leopards here can fly. So we've checked further out. I did find tracks again in the block, but now heading north when he was heading south earlier. We're very sure he's still there. Also decided to let it darken down a little bit, come check around Twin Dams, and then we're going to loop a big loop back into that area. We're going to check around Treehouse as well, Treehouse Dam, and see what else we can find. We're hoping he moves out of those thick areas, and now as it's a bit darker. But other than that, I hear you guys have been having a fantastic time with James and the Nkuhumas. And just listening a little bit, it's that time of the day. The bats, we can hear them start getting moving. So, oh, excuse me. We're going to head to the sort of west and then head north again and try and hope that that leopard comes out of that block at some point. For those of you who might be new, you are watching us on a live African safari. You're joining James and myself on the back of our vehicles, and you're exploring the wilderness of Djuma and Arathusa private game reserves with us, and it's open to the Kruger National Park. So a vast expansive wilderness, unfenced wilderness, where animals are able to freely move between Let's grab my spotlight there quickly. The culprit. So I know those of you who've watched a bit, we've heard. There we go, he's doing it now. So that's a fork-tailed drongo mimicking up, so doing a last little bit of hawking before the sun sets, catching some of the nocturnal insects that are getting moving, having a last snack before dinner. incredible mimics, fork-tailed drongos. Oh, well, I'll leave him to his snacking. See, there he's mimicking the pearl-spotted owlet. Text we checked. I found one console in the block again, but this time heading north. Just in case, I've checked now down towards the dam on his nest. And then I'm going to head back into that area to see if they possibly he's come out of the block now that it's a bit darker.
Where the lines of this console?
So if you go due north from the junction of Weaver's Nest and Chele Pine Road, heading north into the drainage line there.
Do you think it might be for Buddha or another one?
Guys, we're going to cross to James quickly. Apparently he's got a really amazing shot, so we'll see you just now.
Okay, here we go. Hi everyone. Sorry to rush you back to us, but the moonrise is just too spectacular for words, and the lion is about to walk in front of that unbelievable African moon.
You can keep your hidden frame.
That's right. Look at that. That incredible moon can't be done justice to, I'm afraid, on the camera. But it is lovely to see them in the moon. And unfortunately for the lions, that moon is not good news, because it will light this place up almost like day. We'll see on the way home. I'll show you when we're driving back. We'll drive back without the lights on for a period, and you'll see just how bright it is. Magnificent. Okay, we're going to probably lose these lions fairly soon. I'm going to cross the road, nip around as fast as I can to get in front of them. Look at that picture, eh? I'm going to turn the lights off. It was too nice to darken. Maybe not. Too epic. That's them crossing north off the boundary. Say bye-bye Nkuhuma Pride. Thank you very much for everything you gave us today. Such sweet entertainment that was. There they go, off into the night to hunt. Like I say, it's going to be a tough night for them. The moon will be very bright unless the cloud cover comes over. Behind it. one behind us.
Yeah, there is one behind us.
One coming behind us. I suspect it's a lazy lump. No, it's a lioness. Youngster. With the spotlight round a bit unkindly for Freddie there. Here comes the big boy. Not to shine in their eyes. This is a very bright light. The eyes will take a bit of time to adjust after they've had it, this shining in it. Now you can see the black there. Now if you imagine that the view that you've got of the lions there is what they have with a natural eye, you can see how the black does actually stand out. Actually quite a nice illustration there. Now while they won't see quite as bright as, I don't think they'll see quite as bright as with this light, it's probably more like that. But that black is still pretty obvious. And that's the lions walking into the darkness. And we're going to go and see if we can't get you a nice view of the moon again. And while we do that, we're going to link across to the inimitable Brent Leo Smith and see how he and Scott are doing. Okay, wasn't that just the most magnificent way to finish a day?
Welcome back. We are still on the trail of this leopard. We've decided to just move away, sort of reset. Quite often that helps, and then go back into the area with sort of fresh eyes. And hopefully he's moved out of that thicket and drainage lines he's been in. Apparently you guys had an incredible sighting with James and the lions and the moon. I won't lie, I am a little bit jealous. But really, really nice for you guys. I'm glad you guys are having such a great drive. Unfortunately, James is providing you with cats. We're just doing caterpillars and trees. We're going to try rectify that in the next little while. But welcome back with Scott and myself, and off we go. So just in case we've got some new viewers with us, you'll see there's this big bright spotlight that I'm flashing around, and there's certain animal species we won't shine the spotlight on, like any of your diurnal animals. So diurnal animals means animals that are active mostly during the daylight hours. So you're looking at most of your herbivores, wildebeest, zebra, giraffe, impala, bushbuck, kenyala, duiker, steenbok, most of your herbivores. And the reason for that is that the light can blind them if you keep it on them for an extended period, which makes them easy targets for predators. Predators' eyes and other nocturnal species' eyes, on the other hand, are made up very differently, so we are able to shine the light on them without any adverse effect on their eyesight. So just in case you guys are new and wondering, also just to remind, if you are new, we are live. You are sitting on the back of my vehicle going on an African safari in Nkuhumas Private Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands. And we are also interactive, so you can send us questions about what we're seeing, what we're doing, and you can do that via email. And the email address is questions@wildearth.tv, or you can just use the hashtag #SafariLive if you're on Twitter. Magnificent evening, sunset drive we're having. I mean, look at that sky, isn't it incredible? I don't think anyone, a photograph or a painting can never quite catch the gist of the sky when it's live. I mean, look at that. And also quite nice with the framing of our lights down the road. Adds quite a different experience. A lot of hyena tracks on this road. There, Scotty's got the moon, full moon by the looks of things tonight. Nice temperature at the moment, and the bush smells different to me in the dry season. Sort of a dusty smell, but not in a bad dust, not like a dirty smell, just a, I don't know how to describe it properly, but it's one of my favorite smells. Sort of a mixture of sort of crushed vegetation, sort of crushed leaves, dust, and buffalo dung when we're around where there's fresh buffalo dung, and that smells very similar to cow dung. So very similar smell to if you were on a cattle farm. For those of you who know what cow dung smells like. So I've often been asked by different people who've been visiting on safari, or even South Africans who live in the cities, aren't I worried about all the dirt? Because I tend to get dirty quickly. I don't manage to stay clean for very long. I can clean up and shower, and literally within 10 minutes I'll have dirt on my hands or on my clothes, dust everywhere. And everyone said, oh, well, aren't you worried about all the dirt out here? And I never am. This is good, clean dirt, not like city dirt. Thanks very much, guys. Apparently a lot of you are saying that you guys love the caterpillar sighting, and I mustn't feel down because we haven't found the leopard, but I can't take credit for those caterpillars. That was a great spot by Scott on camera, but it was a really interesting sighting, and it's going to be quite fun to try to figure out what moth species that those big caterpillars belong to. We're going to have a little competition now. We're going to have a cameraman off. So it's Scott versus Andrew and James versus Brent. Who can put them in the best position for the most epic moonshot? What do you think? So you know what? I feel bad for them because I'm that confident about Scott and myself. We'll let them go first. So we'll cross across to James and Andrew and see what they can come up with, and then we'll be back hopefully with the winning shot. And I think you guys should vote on which is the best shot, and do that on Twitter and on email. You can use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or the email address questions@wildearth.tv. So we'll see you just now. Over to James.
Now, I've just been told that Brent Leo Smith has instigated some form of competition where he is going to basically pit Scott Dyson against Freddie Mercury for the best moonshot. So we're going to watch Freddie do the best he can. I've just been out of the car trying to take a picture myself with my little camera. It was absolutely hopeless, I'm afraid. I'll take another one while Andrew tries to win the competition. Please let us win. We have very fragile egos, Freddie and I. I will take a picture with my camera now that will hopefully will show you, and will hopefully also destroy Brent and Scott's efforts. Stand by 1 second. Will be a long exposure photograph. Brent is a very fast photographer, of course. I am an extremely slow one. So here we go. Epic moonshot coming up. 13 seconds of exposure. There we go. Be patient, here it comes. Right, now we wait for it to go. So as I was saying, now if you, Andrew, if you can you put the camera on basically its most basic gain, and just so that we have an idea of how bright it actually is. That's pretty much the natural light that you're seeing there. So we have a little light on in the cockpit of the Land Rover, but not much otherwise. Now that's for a herbivore is a pretty easy. For a herbivore, that's going to be pretty easy. Make it pretty easy for them to see those hunting lions. And I'm just setting up one more photograph for you. And so you can see how difficult it's going to be for the lions to do any kind of effective hunting on a night like this. I'll take one more shot, please. And then we'll cross back to the inimitable Brent Leo Smith. I'm not sure that they'll be able to beat Freddie today. He's been on fire. He spotted all the lions, filmed them, and now he's filming the moon from high on a crest on our northeastern boundary. And it's beautifully balmy warm, even though it's winter here. It's just such a nice time to be out, and such a peaceful time to be out. Right, I'm going to show you my photograph. I'm a pretty amateur photographer, to be honest. My camera still says it's busy. You can see that it's such an epic photograph that the camera is busy creating it properly. It should be no more than another 3.5 hours or so before it's ready. There we go. Here it comes. Look at that. You can even see a star above that. Hey, look at that.
Very nice.
I think that's an epic. Brent Leo Smith, eat your heart out. Okay, I think we'll link back to them now. We haven't been asked for a link back to them, but I don't really mind. We're going to try and catch them off guard and so win the competition. One must do anything one can to win these days. So back to Brent. safari. Brent was caught completely unawares.
And if you zoom out...
That was a disaster. We live. Sorry, we live. That was a disaster, folks. But I'm going to go back into the moon. We were trying something funny there with Brent on the bonnet. And he was trying to cup his hand, which I'm going to try and resurrect and show you what we're going to do now. If you could put your hand a little bit further out, Brent. A little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more. And a tiny bit down. A tiny bit up now. So as you can see, we were caught off guard, folks, and apologies for this mess.
We were trying to set up an interesting, different, artistic moonshot.
But we weren't quite there, and not all the camera skills, but you get an idea of what we were trying to achieve, and maybe next time.
Okay, I think I better get back in the seat.
Okay.
So we are still in that area where we had those leopard tracks. So in two, so we were trying to kill sort of two birds with one stone. We were trying to defeat James and Andrew, and we were trying to listen to see if that leopard started moving, and anything might have spotted an alarm called, or even he might have started calling, territorial calling. But no luck on the moon or the leopard. But it was definitely worth a try. So I think we're trying to do something. Let me see now. There we go. I've caught it. Oh, there we go. That's what I think we're trying to do, something like that. It didn't quite work. Oh, there we go. But anyway, we're going to continue on to try and find this leopard.
We were a bit ambitious there with the plan, considering my camera skills. But at least we went for it.
Okay, oh, nice. I think it was a bush baby, judging from where it was ahead of me, but quite far off the road. So I'm following a hunch. I think he's going to come out of this area called Philemon's Dip. Oh, now I've got spotlights attached. There we go. So hopefully my hunch is on today. Seems like you guys enjoyed our failed attempt at holding the moon. We're definitely going to have to practice after drive, Scott. I think we need to put at least half an hour.
There will be homework.
Yeah, we're not allowed to eat till we get that right. Unfortunately, it looks like this leopard has defeated us today, and that does happen, unfortunately, from time to time. Keeps us in our place. We don't get too cocky thinking we can find leopards at will, but I'm definitely going to be looking for him again in the morning. Can't let him win twice in a row. But so thanks very much for joining us on the Sunset Safari. It's been really, really fantastic having you guys on the vehicle, and we really do appreciate all the questions and feedback and stuff that you guys send us, and it's a real privilege for us to be able to share our passion and our knowledge about the African bush with you, and breeding conservationists all over the world, and really, really wonderful to have you on the back of our game drive vehicle. And it's going to be a great sunrise safari. I'm definitely going to be hot on the tracks of this male leopard again, hopefully with a little bit more success. Really frustrating to have actually found him on foot and seen him and then not been able to find him in the vehicle, but that does happen from time to time, and maybe he just needs a little bit of a break from the vehicles. So And if a leopard doesn't want to be found, you're not going to find it. So, and thanks very much to Scott today. He's done an excellent job on camera. We've had a lot of fun. And thanks very much, and we'll see you on the Sunrise Safari. Have a great couple of minutes with James, and wonderful evening. Good night.
Welcome back to Jiggy, everyone. I believe we succeeded, Andrew and I, in catching Brent and Scott completely unawares. And that was, of course, entirely our intention. Brent will no doubt get me back in some way. He's very clever like that. I hope you've had a good afternoon with us. I have had probably my favorite afternoon since I arrived here all of 10 days ago. That Pride of Lions is fascinating, and watching how they develop going forward is going to be amazing, especially given the changes in lion dynamics are always interesting because they're in continual flux. There's never a state of equilibrium. And so with the Matimbas, who we don't know where the second one is, apparently he's called Ginger or something like that. We don't know where he is at the moment. We only saw the dark black maned brother today, the real magisterial king of the bush. And it'll be fascinating to see how the pride dynamics change. And so thank you for joining us. We're always grateful, especially to our two youngsters, William and Denver. And I'm sorry, I've forgotten the name of our friend, our 12-year-old friend from the Dayton Children's Hospital, but thank you so much for your questions. Please send them through some more and tell your friends about us. We love to hear from you. And if you remember any comments, emails, watch the dam cams, and we'll see you in the morning, obviously, very early. And a big thank you to Scott and Brent, who I know spent a huge amount of the afternoon trying to find a leopard for us all. Thank you to old Freddie Mercury behind me, who did a sterling job as always, and to Eugene and the sultry tones of Nikki in the control box. We're very grateful for them too. And mostly to you for watching and enjoying with us. And I'm going to leave you. I'm going to stop at the top of the hill here. And we're going to just turn the lights off and let you experience the wonder of the African night. We'll see you in the morning.